I know firsthand how challenging it can be when you're not in a good financial space. Maybe you're drowning in student loan debt, maybe you have high balances on your credit cards, or maybe you simply don't have the additional money left over to do any of the things that you really want to do. That can be a really challenging place to be in, much less thinking about investing or any of the other advice that we often hear online. My goal today is to not only make you feel heard for whatever financial situation you're in currently, but also to give you 5 really tangible tactical steps that you can take right now to improve your financial situation in the next 30, 60, or 90 days. And in doing so, not only will you start to experience a shift in your mindset, but you'll start to believe truly what is possible for yourself. Now, in my journey, that is honestly one of the things that I think has been the most important, is really understanding what is possible. See, I came from absolutely nothing. I spent much of my childhood in a trailer park. We never had money for just about anything. I was fortunate to have a grandparent who was able to help me do certain things, but beyond that, my money situation was always tight from the day I was born. And I think part of that challenge too was that I was really painfully aware of it at a super young age. I remember being like 6 years old and thinking, oh, we can't afford that. I don't think any child should have to know or think or feel that way, especially so early in life. But because I did, because that was my circumstance, I was really aware of money. And so I always felt like I was kind of going through life with this less than ideal financial situation. And more importantly, I had a really negative mindset around money. It always felt like bad, like I wasn't deserving of it, like I wasn't gonna have it. And obviously that held me back for a very long time. Luckily, I surrounded myself with enough of the right people and started to do enough of the right actions to change my financial situation. I started making a lot more money, but unfortunately, because of my money story and the mindset around it, I lost that money just about as quickly as I made it, until I started to put myself in rooms with people who could teach me how to treat money better to change my financial situation for good. There's been plenty of highs, plenty of lows, and I can say with absolute certainty that I've definitely made a lot of mistakes along the way, which is part of why I wanted to create this channel, create these videos, and be able to create a community of people that I could show what to do, what not to do, and hopefully help you avoid some of the mistakes that I made on my own money journey. Because if I had learned some of these things sooner in life, I certainly would have hit that goal even faster. And so if you're new here, my name is Tessabella, aka Billion Dollar Bella, and I am on a mission to help you make, manage, and multiply your money better. So today I'm gonna give you 5 things that are super essential. And the great thing about these is, don't worry, I'm not gonna say anything about your mindset, though that's important. I'm gonna give you real tactical, tangible tips. See, personally, it tends to bother me when somebody says they're going to give me these tips and tricks and things to do, and then all it is to just like have a better mindset. Again, not knocking that because it's very important, but I like to have something real and tangible that I could go and do right now after watching this video that's going to start to make a difference. And so that's my goal for you today, is that you write down these 5 things and then you go immediately implement them and start getting that much closer to financial freedom. Step number 1 is that you need to assess where you are. See, a couple things about this point. Number 1 is I like to personally set myself a financial day every single month. So mine is always on the 15th. Yours can be whatever day you want it to be. You don't really need more than maybe an hour or 2, depending on your situation, to actually run through things. But what I find is a lot of people tend to turn a blind eye to their financial situation, maybe because it's uncomfortable, maybe because you're not sure what you're looking for, whatever it may be. We tend to avoid our finances until we are in a really dire situation. And so instead, I want you to dedicate one specific day each month where you're going to review your finances. During this time, I want you to make note of every account you have, every card you have, any loans that you have, and actually write down the interest that you have on those, the balance that you have on those, any sort of details that is necessary about each specific account or card. You need to write it down. What this is going to do is help us to understand our total current financial situation, but it's also going to help you prioritize things that may need to be paid off or paid down more quickly. While you do this, you also want to get clear on how much money you have in savings. Do you have an emergency savings fund? Are you overspending in this area? And by doing this, it simply helps you get so much more clarity on where you are so that you can also get more clear on where you're going. Step number 2 is that you want to make sure that you have got adequate savings. Now, you'll hear different bits of advice all over the internet. I like to personally have 3 to 6 months of savings already set aside in case I ever need it in an emergency. I want you to make sure that when you're setting up your emergency fund, it's not just off of the absolute bare minimums. You're not calculating that just off of, say, your rent and your car payment, but you're also calculating into that some of the expenses and things that you pay for on a monthly basis. Now, of course, if you lost your job or had no income and you needed to live off of that emergency fund, you could probably go a few months canceling Netflix or not having your Hulu subscription, right? So I'm not saying you have to include absolutely everything in there, but it does really help. After we've completed step 1, we have a true snapshot of our financial situation, and we start to get a lot more clear on our own spending habits. And so though your bare minimum essentials may cost you, say, $4,000 a month, you may not realize that you're also going out to eat, buying meals, paying for subscriptions, having a gym membership, all of these other things that total up to an additional $1,200. So decide what that threshold is for you, meaning, do I want 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, 12 months, whatever makes you feel most comfortable, determine that amount of time. Then from there, figure out what the actual dollar amount is that you would truly need in those months. And then the third piece of this equation is to determine how long you want to give yourself to hit that goal. Now, if you want to be more aggressive in your savings and you've got a little bit more cash flow coming in, maybe you can shoot to hit that goal in 3 to 6 months, or maybe you want to spread it out over, say, 12 months or 18 months and just gradually set aside a little bit here and there to build up that nest egg. So figure out exactly what that calculation looks like for yourself, but ultimately what you're going to end up with is, okay, I need to be setting aside $500 extra each month into my emergency savings in order to have 3 months of emergency savings saved up by the end of the year. Once you've determined those numbers, I want you to take this one step further and open up an account called a high yield savings account. Now, there are tons of these all around, so I encourage you to do some of your own research. Things to look for when you're looking at a high yield savings account is the percentage of APY, as well as some of the rules and requirements of that specific account. For example, majority do not have a minimum deposit, and majority do not have a withdrawal penalty, but you definitely want to make sure that you are searching for those things so that you can avoid any sort of tricky situations. My personal favorite is through Ally Bank. I believe that their APY is about 4.75% right now. So basically what that means is that the money that you're putting into that high yield savings account is going to start collecting additional interest and accruing more compounded interest over time than it would in just your traditional savings account. So you want to go and open up one of those high yield savings accounts and start tucking away your savings there. So your 3 to 6 months of emergency savings, you're going to start putting those into a high yield savings account. Not only will that money start to earn more for you, so it'll help to compound, but also I find it really helpful to have my emergency savings fund separate from my normal bank account. Otherwise, it's really easy to pull money out of your savings whenever you want or need it. And so you could see that available. It's easy to do that little transfer. I find it much better when you have it in a separate account that you're not very tempted to ever pull out of that unless you truly, truly need it. Which brings us into step number 4, which is to increase your income. So now that you've got that number of what your financial freedom truly looks like, you can reverse engineer how you're going to get there. So divide it out by 12 months. Now, this is going to give you exactly how much you need to be bringing in each and every single month in order to reach that goal. Then look at how much income you currently have. If you're currently working a job or career, I encourage you to first go into that specific career or job and see what you can do to increase your income there. See, you would be blown away how many people are missing out on opportunities simply because they fail to ask for it. And so I encourage you to try and set a meeting with a manager or supervisor or owner of the company and see if there's a plan you can get on to get a raise, to earn more money. Are there options for promotions or bonuses? Ask and you shall receive. The more that you are willing to ask those questions, the more likely you are to accomplish them. What's the worst that happens is that they may say no. But in most cases, you're going to at least get a plan forward of how you can increase that income there. This brings me to a quick quote that I love and I think is very important, and that is, shavings make a pile. So every single little penny and cent can add up to really help you in the future. So don't write something off just because it's only going to increase your income by $5. That $5 can compound and really make a difference over time. And if you pay attention to all of the little things, you would be blown away at how much that can add up and truly make a big shift for you. We're going to look at additional ways to increase your income by adding something else. Now, there's a couple things I want you to consider here. Number one, I always like to look at ways that I cannot work for the same dollar twice. That's one of the 21 rules of money. But what I mean by that is I want to see, okay, in my current role or career, are there ways that I could additionally monetize some of the work that I'm already doing? I'll give you an example. Let's say that you are a real estate agent. If you're a real estate agent, your primary income is going to come from selling houses and receiving that commission. But you could also utilize some of your time to maybe create some social media graphics for other realtors or lenders in your area and sell them to them, or sell those on Etsy. You could also pick up some admin roles for additional agents or larger teams in your area. You could create a simple purchasing your first house course online. So now you have multiple different ways that you can not only monetize some of the effort that you're already putting out, the knowledge that you already have, but you're also allowing yourself to increase your income without having to always increase the amount of time that you've committed to something. See, that truly is a major key with changing your financial situation, is that you are no longer just trading time for money. And so I always encourage people to look at creating a digital product like a course, a membership, an ebook, or some sort of program that could complement what you're already doing. Even if that's just a very low ticket price, that can be something that compounds over time. If you want some ideas on this for your specific situation, drop in the comments below what it is you do for work or for your career, and I will get back to each and every single one of you with a way that you can increase your income based off of what you're already doing. I promise you this is one of the best and easiest strategies. And additionally, if you want a roadmap on how to create a digital product, I've included that in the description below as well. It is our Rich Girl Playbook because I think it is one of the best possible ways that you can increase your income in a fairly short amount of time. Now that brings us to the last and final tip here, which is to increase your credit and pay attention to that darn credit score. This is also something that is so crucial and so important. See, for the longest time, I didn't understand credit. When I first turned 18, I had no idea how to operate credit. No one had ever taught me about it before. And so I quickly tanked my credit score about as bad as it can get. Fortunately, today I'm so happy and proud to say I am almost in the 800 club, but that took a lot of work to get back up there. And so again, I have understood the tricks of the trade of the credit game. If you need help or want help on this, please let me know in the comments below, and I would be more than happy to do a credit video or maybe even a credit series teaching you guys how to increase your credit. But trust me here, increasing your credit score is super important. Not only will it help you get better rates when and if you ever need to borrow money, but Also, having a good credit score allows you to have access to things that you would have otherwise not had access to. So I encourage you to increase your credit score and get access to as much credit as possible in the form of different credit cards, credit lines, or capital. Now, the reason I say this is not to ever treat that money like money we don't have. You don't want to go out and get a good credit card and just rack up all of this money on a credit card. That's what a lot of people do, is they'll get their credit card, they have a $10,000 limit, and now they think, ooh, a free $10,000 to go spend. That is not the case. I like to treat my credit cards like that is 100% my money. However, I think it's important to get access to as much credit and capital as possible when you don't need it, because that allows you to have so much more protection and flexibility and opportunity, especially in times when you do need it. Okay, so we're going to go out, we're going to get as much available credit as possible, and now we're going to pay for absolutely everything that we can on our credit cards. So in some cases, you can pay for your rent on credit cards. If you want tools for that, I've also got those down in the description below. But you can pay for things like certain payments, certain bills allow you to pay with credit cards. You can, of course, pay for any of your subscriptions, groceries, meals. But again, you want to set a really good habit of then going and paying off and down those credit cards. If you do this well, you will not only continue to increase your credit score, you'll typically get a ton of additional travel rewards and credit card points and all kinds of awesome perks in that sense. But also, a lot of these companies look at that healthy behavior on their cards, and they will continue to increase the amount of credit that they give you access to. Now, I don't have too much time left in this video. I don't want to keep you here all day, so I'll have to do another video teaching you how to turn your credit into cash by investing it into cash flowing assets. But there are so many ways that you can take credit and leverage that to start earning additional capital for yourself. So I hope that these 5 tips were helpful for you. Truly, I see this as the path of least resistance to truly achieving financial freedom as quickly as possible. If you have any questions or want me to dive deeper on any of these 5 steps, just drop it in the comments below. Be sure to explore those freebies in the description. And thank you so much for joining me. I will see you on the next one. Be sure to subscribe and share this with somebody who might also want to increase their financial freedom.